Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we're going to be talking about 7 popular interior design trends that will fail in real life. These are things that I see really popular. They're very trendy, but I want to caution you against them. It's not that the items on this list are bad. A couple of them are, but most of them are not bad. They're just not for most people, and probably not for you. I don't know your individual circumstances. I have no idea. You could be Gwyneth Paltrow. I have no idea, but they're just things that will fail in real life for most people. And I'm going to talk about these as sort of a cautionary tale before you jump in head first. It's like you might want to have like a Porsche Boxster or something, but then you realize you're like a dad with a wife and 4 kids. And then it's just like, it's not that the Boxster's a bad car, it's a beautiful car. It's just not for you, okay? So you're gonna get a Dodge Caravan. That's your reality. So let's talk about those items, and so I can caution you against them towards, and I'm gonna give you some options. So maybe you're not in a Dodge Caravan, but maybe you're in a nice Ford Explorer instead, which is almost a Boxster, and we're gonna talk about some great solutions. Let's get going. Okay, but before I get to the rest of the video, I will say that one guarantee that a trend will fail in real life is if it compromises on quality or its materials. And that is why I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Quince. They sell everything from clothes to shopping essentials to home goods, like you name it. Quince sells like everything. So I got the Mongolian Cashmere cable crew neck sweater in the color moss, which is perfect for the rainy fall season, which we're headed into. I am also obsessed with my new Italian leather laptop backpack in the color cognac. It's gorgeous, and it's been sort of the perfect personal item during my recent travels abroad. And the good news is that both of these items were like about 50% less than what you'd find at conventional retailers, which is great. And Quince does this by working sort of directly with the suppliers. So they're not actually, they're sort of cutting out all the middlemen, and they're able to provide really high quality home goods and clothing and everything at really affordable price points, because you're not really paying for the markup of those sort of middlemen players. So go ahead and upgrade your wardrobe or get some new home decor by heading to Quince, and you can use the link in my description, and that will give you 365-day returns as well as free shipping. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you, Quince, for sponsoring today's video and for making beautiful products at great price points. And let's get back to the rest of the video. Okay, first up on my list is going to be graphic marble. Now, I love graphic marble. I think it's beautiful. It's been really trendy for a few years. We used to see a lot of sort of really subtle, simple white marbles, really popular, the Carrara marbles, right? Things that were really beautiful and simple. And they were white with maybe some light gray veining, maybe some light beige sort of veining or sort of gold tones, right? But it was overall quite subtle. We saw that being really popular several years ago, and like Carrara marble was, and it's just in my opinion, that is a timeless material. We can cover that in another video, but I think that is a timeless, beautiful choice. But a lot of people are choosing really bold graphic marbles, the kind of Violas and all these things that are just really bright and graphic and lots of veining and lots of color, and they are stunning. They are works of art. They are beautiful. I would put them in my own home if I could, like blah, blah, blah. They're great. Again, wonderful. But I think a lot of the times what people don't realize is that these types of graphic marbles are being put into spaces with huge budgets. They're oftentimes being put in by an interior designer or an architect or whatever, people that really know what they're doing, and they put a lot of time and attention into those details in the space over and above just the marble, right? So they might do a marble vanity, but they've also got the gorgeous mirrors, and they've got the sconces, and they've got beautiful plumbing fixtures, and they've got, the freestanding tub, and they have a space to work with that is often bigger. This is the thing, right? Interior designers often are working with people that have huge budgets, because if you can afford an interior designer, you probably have a pretty nice space. Now, that's not to say that interior designers don't work on simple, normal sort of spaces that are more average sized, but I would say that oftentimes the stuff that makes the social media and the things that we all kind of lust after is going to be these huge, big, beautiful bathrooms or kitchens or anything like that. And so they are gorgeous. I'm not saying they're not, but they just practically don't fit in most people's homes or budgets or spaces, right? It's just not gonna happen. People tend to get excited, they jump into these huge trends like the graphic marble, and then unfortunately, it sort of is not executed in a way that they're really excited about, because again, all those details and all those different pieces are not fitting together to work together to make a beautiful design. I think going for something a lot simpler, like a marble or even a quartz product or something, a quartz, very simple stones, natural or manufactured, is going to probably make sense for most people. Yes, graphic marble is gorgeous, it just might not be for you. Sorry. Okay, next up is going to be TV above the fireplace. I still see this as very popular. This has been a long-standing thing. Now, I'll be honest with you, everybody struggles with this one because TVs are not always particularly attractive, and people figure out what to do with them. And if you want a fireplace, then where does everything kind of work together, right? Like, how do you have enough walls to sort of make it all work? And there's some asymmetry symmetrical designs that are out there that are super, super cool, but it's still very, very popular to put the TV above the fireplace. Here's the problem. For most people, depending on the fireplace you choose and the size of the room, get to that in a second, it's just too big. It's just too high. The TV is just not gonna make sense. Now, I'm not like a computer techie sort of expert. A lot of people have said that they also are not big fans of the TV above a heat source. That's another thing that's worth noting. I'm not an expert there. I might fry your electronics, but like, please, your mileage may vary. Feel free to figure that out. Go search Reddit. They'll let you know, not me. Other people are more qualified to talk about that. But I would say, just in terms of from a strict like design perspective of like using the space and the function and aesthetically how it looks, it just looks too high for most people's spaces. The fireplace that you have probably is too high, and in order to give the proper clearance for the TV above it, you're looking at probably way too high for most people's living rooms. Now, I mentioned the size of the room, and I mentioned the size of the fireplace because that does matter. If your fireplace is really low and sleek, if you've got one of these really contemporary low fireplaces, then it's possible that the TV is at an appropriate height, like something like that less than 45-degree angle that you're sort of really looking for a television. If that's the case, if you've got a really low fireplace, it might make sense for you. Also, the room size. Depending on the size of the television, of course, which is going to be scaled to the size of the room, probably. The distance that you're sitting away from the TV also matters a lot. If you've got a giant living room where the actual sofa is way back here and you've got way over here your television, the distance is going to make that angle a lot easier for most people to work with. If you've got a 500 square foot condo and you're in your little tiny little, you got a cute little fireplace and then you've got your little tiny sofa and you're staring up like this to look at your television because you're that close, it's just not going to make sense. So again, does it look great for some people? Yes, it can make sense because it provides one focal point for the space. You got the fireplace and then you got the TV above it, which again creates one nice focal point, which can be beautiful. But usually it's seen in spaces where it's really big and you've got a really low fireplace, and then it might make sense. But for 95% of the people that are out there, it's just gonna be too high. Okay, next on my list is gonna be light fixture over a bathtub. Now this one is just straight up impractical. Designers really love this. I don't know if there's really any circumstance in which this really makes a whole lot of sense unless you're dealing with a flush mount or like a semi-flush or something, but that's not really what I'm talking about here. What I see is people are looking for a really elegant, beautiful, almost like chandelier, I feel like, to go above a freestanding tub or something like that. I do rarely see it in an alcove tub. That would be really weird. But usually in these big, grand freestanding tubs, in these huge bathrooms, people love putting a light fixture over top. And I understand it because again, you're dealing with that focal point. If you've invested in a gorgeous freestanding tub, you're probably gonna want that to be your focal point. So putting a light fixture over top makes sense. And normally you're like, Nick, but you're always talking about more lighting, more lighting. Yes, but I think sconces and things that aren't getting in the way are probably gonna be better lighting fixtures for most bathrooms. To put a giant light fixture over the bathtub is gonna make accessibility really a challenge. Getting in and out, you're gonna hit your head on that thing. Okay, like I mean, rich or poor, doesn't matter. We all hit our head on light fixtures, and that one to me gets in the way. I struggle with pendants or chandeliers over spaces where people could hit their head, right? It's how I feel about dining tables are a great place to put a pendant. It's a great place because probably you're not standing on your dining table. You are getting in and out of a bathtub, so I don't feel like this practically makes sense. I do see them look gorgeous in photos, but I can't help but think someone's gonna hit their head on that thing, and it's probably gonna be you, okay? So I would pause on this one, no matter what your bathroom situation is. Take a look at your clearance, make sure that if you have the ceiling height, again, a really grand space, you could do a lot more things. It might make sense for you to put a lighting fixture above a bathtub if you have proper clearance so that you're not gonna risk, you know, hitting your head, getting in and out of that bathtub. But I would say for most people, it's probably not gonna make sense. And again, if you have an alcove tub, do not put a light fixture in there, okay? No, sorry, you're not allowed. That's a point blank, you're not allowed. Okay, next on my list, this is very similar, but it's different, and that is the freestanding tub in general, okay? I love a freestanding tub, I really do, I love it. And you know what, in my own home, if I can get the space for it, I would probably do one. Like I get it, like I love it. It's a beautiful focal point, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, I love it. But you need the space for it. And I would say that this is oftentimes where people go sour, right? If you've got like an inch of clearance between the edge of the bathtub and the wall, it's not enough space, hon. It's not. I know, we all wanted it. I know, you wanted it, I get it. Like I wanted one too. You didn't want an alcove tub. You didn't want a bath shower combo. I understand that. This was supposed to be your forever home. Why can't you make it work? Why can't you let me have a freestanding tub, Nick? Because it's just not gonna be really easy to clean. And honestly, it kind of looks weird because clearly the tub is too big for the space. And I'm sorry to have to be the one to bear that bad news for you. It's just the reality. So when you do it, make sure you got your measurements in order. Make sure you've got enough clearance to be able to do it. You don't need a ton of space, I think. Although I do love these social media bathrooms which are just like, you've got this like, it looks like you're walking, it looks like you're in a spa. I mean, let's be honest, if you have a hallway in your bathroom, then you probably have enough space for it. But you're kind of like walking into this hallway and at the very end, it's like it feels like it's like rising from the ground. It's got this gorgeous freestanding tub. Of course, that's amazing. So if you have that, then by all means, go, we'd love that. Again, I don't think you need a ton of clearance for it, but I do think you need enough to be able to get your little Swiffer in there, okay? You need enough to get your Swiffer in, and I do think it just helps for the tub to have a bit of breathing space. And if it's just jam-packed in there, it's just not for you. Okay, next up is gonna be white upholstery. I don't know what you're thinking, Nick, but you got a white couch back there. Does that mean that you made a mistake? Yes, it does. Okay, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have got it. I always wanted a cream couch, and I decided to get one. I was like, screw it, I'm doing it. And you know what? It was a mistake. Of course it was, but we all knew that. I have a black dog. What were you thinking? Clearly. Don't make that mistake, okay? A white upholstery, do I even need to explain? Is it so obvious? I mean, if you have children, who hurt you? You deserve better for yourself, okay? Search your soul, realize that you are worthy, and therefore you do not need to cause yourself so much anguish, okay? If you have children, don't do it, don't do it. Their little sticky little fingers are gonna be on there so quick, you're gonna be cleaning this thing all the time. I'm honestly depilling this thing all the time. It says there's a dog hair on it all the time, and everything is just dirty all the time. Luckily, these ones have like the removable things, the cushiony things or whatever, and that works. If you're gonna do it, again, you're looking at some performance fabrics are probably gonna have to save you, but performance fabrics don't save you from dog hair, okay? And there's only so much you can ask of them. So I would just be really, really careful with this one. They are very popular. People want that elegant sort of cream, beautiful, neutral, white, blah, 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 blah. What are all the things I can say about it? You know, everybody wants that. You want that look. But again, I think it'll fail for most people because most people just don't live that way, right? If you have children, if you have pets, it's not gonna make sense. If you live alone and you don't like having friends over and you don't like having people, and you don't mind the risk that someone could come over and spill a glass of red wine and ruin your couch. I hate when I go to someone's house and I feel like I have to hold my breath because they're just like constantly watching me to make sure I don't spill something. Like I buy nice things, but I buy nice things because I want them to wear in. I'm not super precious with my stuff, but I think with a white couch, you're just asking for trouble. So I would be really careful with this one. Go with something a little bit more in a mid-tone or a little bit of a darker couch. It's gonna cover a lot more stuff and it's gonna make your life a lot easier. Super popular right now, but will cause you problems long term. Okay, next up is gonna be frameless glass shower enclosures. I see these as so popular in B&Bs and things. They're just, it's a very contemporary look to just have something completely frameless. Or also, by the way, ones that have huge soaring ceilings. I see that a lot as well, and I understand the appeal. It seems amazing, it seems fantastic. First of all, heat does rise, so please be clear on the fact that it might be a little bit chilly if all of your steam is going up into the air and you're left sitting there shivering in your shower. And the same applies for an open door, right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for most people to have an open shower because steam is gonna get out, it's gonna be a little bit chilly, and also the water potentially, if all you got is this little tiny little strip gathering the water, that's a potential issue there where you're kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna be dealing with water flowing into the rest of my bathroom forever and ever and ever. These ones look really great. They look beautiful because I know in photos, we want that very seamless look. We want to be able to go, oh, look, it's just so open and you can see the tiles beautifully and you know, the glass and the railing systems and all that stuff just feels like it's getting in the way of some of the more gorgeous pieces of your bathroom and the design choices that you made there. But at the end of the day, you got to think practically and functionally because, you know, a beautiful space is also a functional space. And I just don't think this is going to be something you're going to be super happy with long term. So I think that, you know, there are different solutions out there that are glass or whatever that are going to make more sense for most people because that's practically what you're going to need long term in your own home. And by the way, honorable mention, stop, can I just say to all the hotel people, stop like connecting the bedroom and the bathroom and just making everything glass. Like no one needs to be able, like on the subject, no one needs to, no, if I'm in the bedroom and you're staying with somebody and they're in the bathroom, none of that. There should be a wall. We want actual drywall there, okay? Just so you guys know. I don't know why they insist on doing that, but honorable mention from me, stop making glass walls for toilets. Okay, and then next up is going to be Limewash and Roman clay walls. These are super, super trendy, and I love them as well, right? They made my list, well, design choices I love like 4 years ago. I just love Limewash walls. I think they're beautiful. If you're not familiar, what it is it gives like a really sort of matted, organic look to a wall. They are different, although they kind of achieve a textured sort of look that can be quite similar. Limewash is a paint, okay? So it's an actual, you know, it's a Limewash paint. It's a different paint than your typical paint, but Roman clay is actually troweled on with like a trowel. So it's a different thing. It's a completely different thing, but I'm gonna put them in the same category here because I think that it can be challenging for people to paint over these if they change their mind, which can be a big problem because most people don't just have a beautiful, amazing, gorgeous design space and then like live in it forever. A lot of times people like to change and they like to, you know, good design should be somewhat, you know, timeless, I think, so that you're not renovating your house every 5 to 10 years because that's not sustainable or affordable or any of those things. But people do like to paint a wall once in a while. And I think that if you've put Roman clay on your walls, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. If you want to go back, these can be a little bit difficult to remove. And they also can, this is like it's got a real organic feel to it, but it also is really absorbent. And so you got to be really careful. Again, if you have kids with muddy hands that are running around the place on your Limewash walls, it's probably not gonna be the move. You know what I mean? Something with a little bit more of a sheen, going with, you know, a regular paint, like going with a Benjamin Moore or whatever, but a little, you know, something in an eggshell or something that's gonna have a lot more durability. That's what you're gonna get from these gorgeous Limewash and Roman clay walls. So again, beautiful, all the designers are using them. They look really organic. They look really sort of lived in. They look beautiful. I get it, I love them as well, but you might wanna consider something with a little bit more of a sheen. It's gonna last you a lot longer and be a lot more durable and easier to clean and paint over if you ever get sick of it. But I will also just really quick add, if you are, you know, I mentioned a little bit more sheen, you could also go for matte, which is another option, you know, matte paint, but just remember they're not as durable. So the higher up you go in terms of sheen, the more durable it is, but the more sort of imperfections it shows. But if you want to have those gorgeous walls as well, but you want something in more of a matte paint, you can go for that. Just remember they're not as durable. So again, if you have children or whatever, it might not be the move for you. Okay, so that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that video. I'm gonna leave here with the video on items that you shouldn't buy if you hate to clean. So if you're a person that likes to think about practical design a lot, which I try to highlight here on my channel all the time, then I do recommend that you check out that video because there are some things out there that are really popular that are hard to clean and you might want to avoid them. So I'll see you all in that video. Bye-bye.